Gymshark is a British sportswear brand that was founded by two friends in 2012. Its CEO, Ben Francis, still only just 28, has now grown Gymshark into one of the biggest fitness brands in the world, valued at a whopping $1.5 billion. Gymshark operates within the community of fitness fanatics. So before we begin on what our market research has pulled up, let's first look at what a fitness fanatic is. Fitness fanatics are defined as internet users aged 16 to 64 who exercise more than 4 times a week and say they have a strong interest in health and fitness. There's no shortage of influential personalities in health and fitness that provide inspiration for their followers, whether in the form of healthy recipes or workout videos to try. Many fitness brands have recognised the power of collaborating with these types of accounts to boost awareness for their brands and products, and ultimately their sales figures. Gymshark prides itself on its Gymshark athletes and is one of the major companies that uses influencers within the fitness fanatic community to support and provide meaning behind its brand. Gymshark was an early adopter of fitness marketing and used fixed personalities to showcase the Gymshark brand to their following. The reason why Gymshark has done this is because fitness fanatics are a popular and receptive community, and they're almost 50% more likely than the average internet user to follow the likes of bloggers and vloggers. When it comes to the effectiveness of this strategy, about a fifth of fitness fanatics say blogger posts and influencer endorsements are a key way they come across a new brand. Gymshark taps into the target market of millennials and Gen Z interested in fitness and fashion. And by creating this community, the brand has become more than just a fashion line. It has become a community that make people feel a belonging and thus invest and believe in. To become sponsored by Gymshark, people are encouraged to tag Gymshark in social media posts, showcasing the brand and what makes them unique. Gymshark themselves said it's not just about the athlete, it's about how they can positively influence others. Its owner Ben Francis spoke out about this, saying, "From the point of view of the athletes we work with, we want to create a real, strong team that speaks to our values, and we work with them for a long, sustained period of time." However, it has not all been plain sailing, and Gymshark have faced some criticism for their selection of athletes. In particular, these criticisms have been pointed towards the use of steroids, with those such as Dylan McKenna and Ryan Casey falling into major controversy about the issue. The problem with cases like this is that they're not good for the brand image, and in fact both faced a major bite back from the fitness community. Now, just before we dive into what our market research pulled up, let's first take a moment to discuss the methods in which we used. For this project, we approached it through netnography. And netnography is a specific type of qualitative social media research. It adapts the methods of ethnography and uses them to understand social interaction in contemporary digital communications. Now, what this essentially means is that you look at the way in which people within a community present themselves and converse with each other in an online sphere. Now, one of the first things that we really noticed was just the sheer amount of women that were in the fitness fanatic community. Bodybuilding for so long has been seen as a very masculine sport, but if you look at what the Gymshark and the fitness fanatic community looks like, you actually see a lot of women, and these women are tagging their clothes and also engaging largely in the fitness area of social media with other women. And there are more and more female athletes. You know, when we see these women in the gym, they're not just doing your sort of fat-free diets of the 90s, you know, of just very cardio-driven. But actually, these women are doing weight training, and the language in which they're talking and the conversations they're having is, you really notice a shift. So it's not just about losing weight. Instead, a lot of these women were talking about gains and growth and muscle groups. And that was something that we really did notice. Gymshark already do quite a good job catering to their female market. They have their own women's Instagram page and they produce a lot of female clothing. They've also got quite a lot of women ambassadors. But what we could tell from the ethnographic work is that they could be doing even more. In particular, we noticed that a lot of the women and the content that they were putting out was discussing, the colour and the fit of their Gymshark clothes. YouTube videos of them with their Gymshark hauls and just general chat about how the clothes fit and what they look like. This sort of led us to the recommendation for Gymshark that maybe they could try push the more fashion route. So that could potentially involve fashion collabs with other brands, more design ideas, introducing more patterns, trying to make it a bit more of a fashion piece. What we've seen in the 2010s was a real move towards sport chic. But if Gymshark could really push that even further and maybe even getting, quite a famous fashion brand to work with them and produce some designs, that could be really catering to what the current community are after. Another thing we noticed about the fitness fanatic community was the major interest around food. Particularly amongst the community's influencers, we noticed that they were putting out loads of content in which they would tell their followers what they were eating in that day, or the macros or calories in their meals, even food preparation ideas. And more than this, when we sort of delve deep into the comments of these and, we're looking at how followers and influencers were engaging in and the conversations that they were having, we noticed something else. We noticed that many of these posts were concerned with breaking the rules of diet culture. I think for so long there was a connection between to be healthy, especially within female fitness, it was the fat-free. We saw this particularly in the 90s. However, what our ethnographic research showed was that people don't want this anymore. Weight loss is no longer the aim of the game. Rather, many of these posts were encouraging, the nourishment as opposed to the starvation of the female body. And this sort of body positive image is really important. And, this kind of breaking down the fear of the calorie or the fear of full fat is something that is a major trend at the moment within the fitness fanatic community, and kind of ties into that earlier point we were saying about sort of females not just focusing on cardio. And another key thing we noticed was, a big emphasis on protein. And protein really seems to be the buzzword in the fitness fanatic community at the moment. How you can take as much protein in and still be healthy, and different ways, or high protein snacks, and also a lot of vegan as well. Health, I think, is a large reason why we've seen such a rise of vegan. So actually, vegan protein was also something we really noticed quite strongly. So this brings us to what our recommendations are. And, from what we've seen, as people within the community are clearly caring about what they eat, Gymshark should capitalise on this more to drive traction to their platform and reinforce the community sense. Now, this could be done through, cooking shows or recipes, or even potentially a cookbook where they, put together a collection of recipes in which are high protein and nutritious and nourish the bodies, how to become your best self. And they could even team up with chefs for collabs. I mean, Gymshark's a big famous brand, and I'm sure many chefs, just like many athletes, would love to collaborate with them. Another thing we thought would be really interesting is Gymshark could even maybe launch their own protein bar. Because when we went on the pages of a lot of these influencers, they were also sponsored by other protein bars, Misfits Protein or Outpro Protein. So it got us thinking, Gymshark already has the relationships with these people, and these people clearly want, high protein snacks that they can have before the gym. So they have, their place within that community. Why don't they really capitalize on it and potentially look into releasing their own protein bar. I think for Gymshark to focus around the nourishment of the body, the education of nutrition as opposed to just fat-free diet culture. And we found that to be really important and a very strong recommendation for the Gymshark. And finally, what we really noticed about this community from, doing our research is this newfound importance of mental health. And the inclusion of mental health in the conversation around physical health and amongst fitness fanatics was vital and was really dominant in the posts and content that we found and the conversations that were being had. I think there seems to be a major shift in the way in which we talk about health and the way in which we talk about being healthy, and it's one which is a lot more holistic. And we found that a lot of people online who are putting out stuff regarding going to the gym or putting out stuff for the fitness fanatic community were also posting content alongside it in which they would talk about mental health issues such as anxiety, depression and eating disorders, and they would comment on and discuss their experiences with it and how they overcame it or how they might still be struggling with it, and and potential ways that might help others. And more athletes are opening up about their own experience, and this is really clear. We're breaking down the boundaries within the fitness fanatic community of the macho male gym where you don't feel anything. And this is something that Gymshark, especially given the controversy regarding the steroid use that was discussed earlier, would actually really benefit from incorporating into their strategy. This idea that you don't just have to be this masculine kind of numb to everything else individual. That's not what the Gymshark athlete is. And Gymshark could maybe move into providing a more holistic view of health or a more holistic view of what is Gymshark. And I think this is because Gymshark, it's clear, even from its founder's words, the importance of creating a community feel. And if this is your community, the fitness fanatic community, it's really important that you show you care not just how they are physically, but how they are mentally. So an idea potentially could be Gymshark could offer, meet-up events about talking about mental health, or they might do blogs or maybe provide, resources on their website, all of which are geared towards providing their customers and other members within the community the tools and things that they need to help support not only themselves in the gym, but also within life as a whole.